Today, I'm going to share a very interesting story of a village boy from Jawan to General. The boy who, when he failed in all fronts and getting rejected from all sides, so he left his home for an easier option to become the underworld don. And this journey changed his life. Good evening, everyone. I'm Major General V.P.S. Bhakuni. I joined the armed forces as a Jawan at the lowest rank at the age of 17 years and 4 months and retired as a Major General. Now I'm an entrepreneur. So this is journey of a village boy from Jawan to General and thereafter an entrepreneur. Presently, I'm running 2 companies, SSB Short Academy and Eagles Unbound. One is training the future leaders of our country, the youth, and making them eligible for the armed forces as an officer. Second, we are developing the leadership and team building spirit among the corporates and youth. Now we have started third venture just about a year back, that is Agniveer program when the government announced. So we are also training now Agniveers for Army, Navy and Air Force. So that is the third venture we have started. So ladies and gentlemen, I was born and brought up in a remote village of Almora district in Uttarakhand. I had my initial education in a village school. My first struggle was in 6th class when I moved from the village to the city. And this struggle was to learn Hindi because I used to speak Pahari. Also, I started learning ABCD in 6th class. So it was quite a struggle those days for me to speak in Hindi and also learn English. Can you believe I hated English? And in 7th class, can you imagine? There is a question, how old are you? The answer which I gave was, I am not old. When my teacher called me, insulted me in front of everyone, I was wondering, how can I be wrong? He had written, how old are you? I said, I'm not old. Anyway, later on when I went home, my elder brother told me this was actually a wrong answer. So my hate for English increased. And by the time I was in 11th and 12th class, those days there was some movement taking place in Tamil Nadu, in South India against Hindi and in the North against English. So I used to be always in every procession, every kind of talk, wherever the English is being opposed. This also had its repercussion later, I realized, because I loved English later, because without this, I couldn't have become an officer in the armed forces. Ladies and gentlemen, after studying in Almora, I reasonably did well in every field. From 6th to 10th was a wonderful journey. It was hard work, it was good in sports, I took part in a couple of debating competitions, and 10th, a village boy stood first in his class. This was a great success. But after that, there was a big downfall. Again, because of the movies, because of bad company, because of smoking, because of drinking, mainly gambling. Oh my God, I hardly studied. I always absented myself in the schools in college. I hardly went. And the result was in 11th, a first divisioner. Can you believe? I got 1 mark in physics and 10 marks in mathematics. I still remember. It was a big shock for me as well. So my teachers told me, you can't sit in the final exam because look at your present absence report. You can't. Again, I was scared what to tell because I was staying alone, sometimes in hostel, sometimes in a rented accommodation, away from parents, nobody to look after. This newfound independence spoiled me completely. I couldn't handle it properly. And the result was, I left home along with a friend of mine, inspired by those Bollywood movies, to become a don. Somehow, the my theme line was either Desh Rakshak or Shed Bhakshak. So that fancy I took, I will earn a lot of money by smuggling, looting the rich people and help out the poor. But these are all dreams which are impracticable, I realized soon thereafter. So I left for Nepal. And let me tell you, this journey had a great role to play in my life. To cut the story short, not paying the bill for good about 7-8 days and telling the hotel owner, who was a retired Fauji, I still remember his name was Ram Singh, in Didihar Tehsil of Pithoragarh district, close to the Nepal border. One day, I threw the luggage from the third floor. My friend was below, and we both ran away. He, along with his servant, pursued it. It was a hot chase for good about 6 to 7 hours. And ultimately, once we came to the road, he caught us. So it was a big fight, big humiliation. He literally took us to the police station, but again, we escaped. From there, 70 kilometers with my bag on my back, and along with my friend, we walked the distance. And this distance of 70 kilometers walking, but not begging, but definitely stealing some fruits here and there, we survived. And I kept thinking, Bhakuni, you have done a big mistake. It was easier to become a soldier and officer in the armed forces. You are not made to become a smuggler or underworld don. That can happen only in the Bollywood movies. I said, this kind of career is just no go for me. I decided to focus back on the studies, but my foundation had become so weak, I failed in the 12th class. I remember when my result came on 30th of June, 1976. Whole night I didn't sleep. What to do? But I decided, that decision I took whole night, that I have to now face the world, my friends, my school, and I have to work hard and ensure that I do well. And guys, this journey of Nepal and this failure in 12th really has given me all the success in life. I owe my success, whatever little I have got, to these failures in life. So finally, I was able to join armed forces at the age of 17 years, 4 months. 28 September 1977 was my enrollment date. Now, I was a kind of recruit in the army at the lowest rank. And the routine was extremely tough from morning 6 to evening 8 o'clock. But I was very sure about one thing in my life, that from there, I'm going to go to the Indian Military Academy and pass out from the Indian Military Academy. I'm not going to pass out as an apprentice to become a craftsman, a CFN, which is called in the army. Can you believe, I still remember that day when I told my dearest friend Bhajan Singh, this is what my plan. I'm taking training here, but I will pass out from Indian Military Academy. He looked at me. He couldn't believe what I am saying. But I believed every word what I said. He thought it is impossible. And ladies and gentlemen, not a single case has been like that in apprentice training school before that. And it happened for me. I was the first one who cracked CDS not once but twice. Who, as an apprentice who was only 12th class, appeared as a private student in Bhopal University and did his BA second year and BA final. So I was a graduate. When I was in the final year, I prepared for CDS. Can you believe the routine was so tough because I was a sportsman, playing sports. Evening when I used to go and sit in the study room to study, there was no one. I was alone in that study room. Army had that facility, but hardly was in a position to utilize that. But somehow I utilized for every day 2-3 hours. Every week, we used to have a night duty as well. The routine was extremely tough, but I enjoyed every bit of it. And in the very first attempt, I cracked the CDS examination. It was a great happiness. Also passed my BA final from there, while as a recruit. And went for the SSB in 11 SSB Allahabad. Now, when I was competing with the civilians, because it was a serious, not an army exam, and group discussion, lecturate, I was the only one who was speaking throughout in Hindi, whereas all colleagues in that group were speaking in good English. But I was confident, I was sure of myself, I was speaking sense, but my name was not called out when the conference took place. I failed. And that journey from Allahabad to Bhopal, I kept thinking, why did I fail? I consulted one of our officer. I still remember Major Joshi, who had been a GTO in Bhopal. I asked him, sir, this is what happened. Why did I fail? He talked to me for about half an hour. And he said, Bhakuni, if you cannot speak English, even the God cannot help you. Oh my God, this sentence again had a great impact on me. I came out from his home. I shouted, I love English. So can you believe a couple of people who opened their windows from left and right? So I came, and from there, that day, I stopped speaking in Hindi. Including, I still remember one of the instructor of mine, since I was trying to speak in English with him, he punished me very badly. Then I realized that I shouldn't do it too much. If my instructors don't understand English, I should not show off. So I made a kind of agenda for me that I have to speak to my colleagues, not to the instructors, because otherwise it is going to result into some bad blood. So next SSB came. I again cracked the CTS, and it was here in Bangalore. And when I went to the 70 SSB, I was fluent in English. And the same SSB, of which after 34 years I became the president, and the same center of which I became the commandant after 34 years. And he interviewed me, the deputy president of 17 board. And in the end, he said, Bhakuni, you are from a village. You joined the army as a Jawan. I can see your record. How did you pick up this English? Oh my God, I knew I'm going to make it. He was really impressed by me. And obviously, I passed the SSB. And after that, I was a guest for 3-4 months. And my friends all were shocked and surprised. How come an apprentice who was to pass out after 3 years from apprentice training school is now going to the IME? And the thing which I had said in the first 3 months of joining, it happened exactly like that. So whatever you visualize, whatever you believe in life, whatever you can see in reality, in your dreams, guys, it comes true. I have a very, very strong faith on this. It has happened all the time in my life. And I was in the Indian Military Academy, getting 34th rank in All India. Though CTS was a difficult examination, privately doing the BA, so I felt was an achievement. I was proud of it. And from IMA, 19 December 1981, I passed out, and that at the age of 21 years, 6 months, and I joined the Dogra regiment. Now, the army life I had dreamed. In fact, I used to pray a number of times to the God. God, I want to do something for my country. I'm ready to sacrifice my life, but I should only die as an officer with stars on my shoulders. Please, not before that. Till the time I have stars on my shoulder, I'm ready to do any sacrifice. And joined my unit in Northeast, and thereafter it was a wonderful journey for 6-7 years. But I loved action. I had joined army for action. So I was getting a bit of bored because action was only sports field, little bit of training, exercises. So I volunteered for Operation Pavan in Sri Lanka. Now this Sri Lanka was a dream come true. I remember initially when I went for familiarization, I was part of the brigade, and once I went to all the battalions, there were 17 posts of ours. I was told that I have to see all the 17 posts. I remember still in Jaffna district when I was going along with the company commander and his body of troops from Nunaville to Sarsalai. We came under intense fire. That was the first time I came under fire. It was somewhere in March 1989. And I was impressed the way our Jawans of Marathas acted because they were trained and the way the company commander reacted. It was impressive. I learned a lesson. Can you believe they immediately went behind the militants who were firing and they pursued them while firing at them. And they could take us to the spot where two militants had fired on us and their blank cartridges were lying there. So that was the thing I liked, how this body of troops acted. Firstly, they took position. In army, it is called dash, down, crawl, and take position and return fire. So that is the thing we are told. And that's what they did. And on top of that, the brave company commander took them to the place where the militants were firing from. So anyway, this was my first battle inoculation coming under the militants' fire. And after that, second opportunity I got, 10 para commando, which is the best unit of one of the best unit of the Indian Army, was launching an operation, I still remember, in Bada Marachi. So they had an intelligence input, they had surrounded, and they raided that somewhere after the midnight. We got the input, and the militants ran away from there. Immediately, I was told to lay a block on this side of the lagoon. Can you believe it was a sudden order? I picked up about 10 to 12 Jawans of mine and went there early in the morning. And we had a chance encounter, a firefight with the militants. And in the firefight, we killed two. That was my first kill in life on 30th of May, 1989. And later their bodies were recognized. Can you believe I had the great fortune of killing the top militant of that area? His name was Sulakshan. He was killed along with his bodyguard, Ashokan. The very next morning, on 31st May, we had another encounter with another three militants because they were having a kind of conference where 10 para-commandos had raided. So they have ran away all across. So next day in the encounter, it was a big firefight. And I still remember that day, to rescue me because I had just 12 men. The CO of 10 para-commandos, Colonel Hari Singh himself came. Hats off to that CO. He came without any protection with 3 jeeps and he was with me. And I was impressed by the way the para-commandos really act in case of emergency and how they fight the militancy. So this was a wonderful experience for me and lots of satisfaction of killing the top leader of that area. After that, I had an action-filled tenures in J&K under militancy. And as a major, when I joined my unit in Keri Battalion, part of a brigade there, along the LOC, the militants had come and they killed 2 of our Jawans. So I was determined to take the revenge. With the help of the police, I remember this input had come from the police. And we now went for action. And with the intelligence which we came, inputs, we laid a cordon for the militants. And can you believe, I still remember on 27th August 1996, we were able to surround 3 militants and we killed them in midnight. And one of them came out to be the area leader of Puch and Rajouri. His name was Sher Khan. He was killed with 2 more militants. This was one of the best success for me. My Jawans along with me, because I was involved in some planning right from the beginning, doing a liaison with the police, getting the inputs, getting the informer with me and all that. So it was a very good, satisfying action. Thereafter, in the next rank, as a lieutenant colonel, we did a huge operation. I still remember in the Surankot area, there was a Cobra group. which has created a lot of problems in that general area. And in the Surin Court, this time, because the whole area was snow-clad, so we changed the tactics. Rather than coming down or coming from left or right, we went from behind, from the top of the hill, which was snow-clad, and we climbed down. The militants never thought that somebody can come from the top, from the snow-clad mountain. That is what exactly we did, my Paltan did. And once we went down, the militants ran away towards us, thinking that like every time the soldiers may have come from left, right or below. And that's the mistake they did. And an encounter which lasted the whole day. We killed 5 of them, but lost one of our brave soldiers. I still remember Sipai Sanjeev Kumar, who later got the second highest award of the nation, Kirti Chakra. I still remember taking his body down along with my fellow soldiers, and I called for a helicopter, and very quickly the helicopter came. We sent him. But I knew he's not going to survive because the way I had seen him. But this operation was a big success because the entire Cobra group, which was the most nuisance creating group in that area, most scary group for everyone, the locals particularly, was completely wiped out. And thereafter, I came for a short tenure in Delhi, went back as a commanding officer, lo and behold, back to Rajouri and Puch, same place which I had left. Another posting in insurgency area. I was happy, very, very happy. So I went to Rajouri, and as a commanding officer, I'm simply telling another operation after the Ramzan ceasefire of April 2001. We launched an operation. I was waiting for ceasefire to get over. And I remember we raided the Uzan village, which was hotbed of militancy those days. And we surrounded 3 militants, and we knew one of them is the area leader. And we killed them. I personally had led this operation as a commanding officer. And that militant was later identified as the area leader of Rajouri, named Abu Sadat. So we eliminated him with 2 more. And guys, the last posting as a brigadier of mine was as a RR sector commander. In hotbed of militancy those days, it was in Kishtwar. And now as a commander, I don't have to go for the operation, though I still used to go and supervise. But the Paltans under me did a marvelous job. Can you believe during the tenure of 1.5 years, nearly 35 militants were eliminated by the best units. It is they, the officers who were at junior rank, the officers who were totally dedicated and action-filled in their approach, and the commanding officer who led from the front. Salute to those. I still remember. It was their action which brought us this glory. And can you believe by the time I left, the area was completely militants-free. So these are the wonderful memories of the armed forces, which I think no service can give you ever. And a lot of lessons to be learned, which I still keep close to my heart. In fact, the first lesson which I think every organization has to do, still I am following as an entrepreneur now, that the most important thing in life is planning, preparation, and action. It has to be followed like that. Any project, any task, any mission has to be planned in detail. And after planning in detail, you have to prepare for it. And look at that. If you do not prepare, you cannot succeed. And that's what is action thereafter. Once you are sure of yourself, the action is to be done. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm so thankful for this wonderful invitation of Josh Talks. The best thing I like about you people is I was given a free hand to speak my mind and my heart. And that's what exactly I have done. Thank you so much, Josh Talks.
अगर आप इस टॉक के एंड तक पहुंच चुके हैं तो मैं आपको जोश टॉक्स का एक दूसरा रूप भी दिखाना चाहता हूं, जिससे मैं काफ़ी देर से जुड़ा हुआ हूं और मुझे बहुत बहुत ज़्यादा पसंद है कि वो क्या कर रहे हैं। जोश स्टॉक्स ने एक नया ऐप लॉन्च किया है जिसका नाम है जोश स्किल्स। अब वो नया नहीं रहा, काफ़ी टाइम से है, लाखों लोग उसको अब यूज़ करते हैं। और जोश स्किल्स पे आप अपनी ज़िंदगी के लिए कोर्सेज ढूंढ सकते हैं। वो कोर्स नहीं जो आपको फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, कॉमर्स, बिजनेस स्टडीज पढ़ाएंगे, वो कोर्सेज जो आपकी ज़िंदगी में आपको कैसे जीना चाहिए वो सिखाएंगे। मैंने खुद जोश स्किल्स पे बहुत सारे कोर्सेज बनाए हैं, पब्लिक स्पीकिंग पे, इमोशनल क्राइसिस कैसे हैंडल किया जाए, अपनी पर्सनालिटी कैसे डेवलप की जाए। हर एक कोर्स में डेली क्विजेज हैं, एक्सरसाइजेज हैं, एक बहुत ही खूबसूरत कम्युनिटी है जो आपको सपोर्ट करेगी, आपको इनकरेज करेगी। आज ही डाउनलोड करें जोश स्किल्स का ऐप और उनके कोर्सेज एक्सप्लोर करके अपनी ज़िंदगी को आगे बढ़ाएं।